It is now the third day of what was initially thought to be a potentially dangerous eruption centered 5 kilometers north-northeast of Iceland's town of Grindavik. While there were 5 fissures erupting on day 1 and 3 fissures on day 2, as of today this figure has decreased to only one singular spatter cone. Lava output is continuing to decrease down from a peak of 250 cubic meters per second during hour 1 and is now only 10 cubic meters per second. In other words, a decrease of 60% in the eruptive rate occurred in the last 24 hours. This has resulted in intermittent and weak spattering from the main spatter cone vent, which appears to be approximately 30 feet or 9 meters in height. There are now 2 distinct possibilities which could occur. Either one, which I deem to be more likely, the eruptive rate will continue to decline at a higher rate until it reaches around 3 cubic meters per second and the eruption ends, perhaps by December 23rd. Possibility 2 is that the eruptive rate declines to a certain threshold, likely in the range of 5 to 10 cubic meters per second, and stays there for an extended period of time, much like witnessed during Fagradalsfjall's 6-month-long 2021 eruption. While the continuing eruption has greatly weakened, it is now occurring across a landscape completely covered by a layer of snow. While highly scenic, this now presents a new potential hazard. If a thick enough layer of snow is present, nearby lava due to warm ground has the potential to unevenly heat the lowermost patch of snow at a higher rate than the topmost layer of snow. This can cause the snow to flash to steam, and since the steam takes up more volume than the snow it once was, it can break the topmost layer of snow, sometimes generating a violent explosion. While such events are rarely witnessed, a notable example of this injured several people on March 16, 2017 at Mount Etna. This is one of many reasons to not go to the eruption site, and it is still illegal to do so. Already, at least 3 people have illegally traveled to the eruption site and all had to either be rescued or were charged and fined. In my comments section, there have been a number of good questions asked about the ongoing eruption, which I will now answer. One person wants to know what the relationship is between the Reykjanes and Fagradalsfjall volcanoes and what makes them separate systems. This, on a surface level, might be somewhat confusing, as the Reykjanes Peninsula is largely covered in lava flows that have originated in the last 1 million years, with some volcanoes right next to each other and sometimes overlapping. The key to determining the difference between regional volcanoes relates to factors including differing compositions, locations of magma chambers, behavior of geothermal features, behavior of volcanic eruptions, the locations of recent eruption vents, and the fissure trends of recent vents. This became somewhat clear during the last 3 years when repeated magmatic intrusions occurred underneath both volcanoes and did not directly affect the other system. These vents had different fissure trends when they erupted, which can be best seen when I extend their fissure orientations across the map. And although lavas from the ongoing eruption of the Reykjanes volcano is as little as 3 kilometers from the 2021 lava flows in place by Fagradalsfjall, they have quite different compositions despite both being classified as basalt, owing to slightly different origins due in part to magma being placed at differing depths. There might be some confusion, as both volcanoes do receive magma from the same source, this being both the Iceland hotspot and molten rock in the upper mantle. And sometimes magma at depth might travel between the 2 systems, but can be distinguished via their chemical compositions. Another person wants to know how the current eruption compares to the 1783 to 1784 eruption of the Laki fissure system of the Grímsvötn volcano. Not only did Laki's eruption last for 8 months, but it occurred along a 29-kilometer long fissure. So, Laki was somewhat similar to 7 simultaneous Reykjanes eruptions, but erupted lava at a rate 32 times higher during its initial hour than what we witnessed at Reykjanes during the first hour of its 2023 eruption, while also having these other differences. As a final note, during the last 36 hours, the erupting Reykjanes lava field has expanded from 4.2 to 4.7 square kilometers in size.